How do you feel?
No. This is not how that's starting. It started like that too many times.
Like what?
We waited until 11:30 p.m. to record this, and you look like you're in an unhappy marriage.
I'm in a happy marriage, just not with you. This is my second marriage.
This is your second marriage.
Yeah,
That was a rude joke.
I got a Chinese wife.
Oh, you married a Chinese man.
Wife, who identifies as a wife. It is a
Uh-huh.
man. It is a man, though.
Yeah, I knew you were gay. I'd like to talk about... I want to know why you were wearing a single pair of underwear multiple days in a row.
Because of lockdown, curfew, baby.
Nope, that doesn't make any sense.
Why am I going outside trying to impress people with fresh fucking underpants?
Your underpants have nothing to do with anybody on the outside world.
I smell them every day, so.
I
smell them. I smell test them every fucking day.
I don't believe you. Actually,
there wasn't I smelled a swamp ass. It passes my my test.
I don't know what podcasts are supposed to.
This is what they sound like.
Really?
They are just retarded.
They talk about your...
I swear to God. This is what the people want. This is it. So I'm leaving. I think you can wear jocks 3 days in a row in a curfew.
No. You got to change your underpants. Or don't wear underpants. I mean, or do you think, I guess, like, riddle me this, is wearing a pair of underwear multiple days in a row the same thing as wearing a pair of pants without underwear multiple times without washing? Not necessarily multiple days in a row, but multiple times without washing.
Yeah, they're both grand. They're both okay.
I disagree.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing I changed them, really, because there's probably an extra, like, couple of ass sweat droplets from my brush with the copperoonies.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about... Yeah, go for it.
We're under curfew, which is pretty sexy. Isn't it? What a way how Australia just kept on getting better and better. Towards the end, we know you're not allowed outside, and if you are, they'll try and arrest you.
I mean, how do you feel about Australia?
The Australian TV is fucking so gay. It's outrageous. The winter's awful. But it's a summer city. We just didn't see the summer. And I mean, seeing anything in lockdown, just... You know what? It's grand. I mean, I'll take my 10 grand out of the country and leave. Joking.
Yeah, I'd like to... Where is this money that you're talking about? And why don't I have something nice to show for it?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Businessmen. You know, businessmen. Can't talk about business and...
So I can't tell, like, I can't...
Can't tell what?
I don't know if I like recording a podcast.
No one does, I don't think.
Really? I mean, like... I get, like, I don't mind being a guest. You know what I mean? Like, I was a guest once upon a time when I had a future.
You could be a guest again in a few months.
But like that, I didn't mind. Yeah, you know, I'd show up to a place, people would ask me questions, I'd talk about a thing. But like every time even when I have ideas for what I want to talk about on this that I don't write down ever, you know, once I go to actually do them, I'm like, ugh, garbage. Like, and I'm just like, I don't know. I started thinking, just like when you've shown me very few podcasts, but I'm like, who the fuck is this for?
It's for people who have shit enough jobs that you don't have to listen to the outside world. That's exactly what it's for, I think.
I've never had a job where I could listen to headphones all day.
Yeah, no, you should get one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd
They're good. I don't want to take a job now unless I can black out my hearing.
I've never had that kind of job.
Oh, that's great.
In fact, I've always had odd jobs, though. I mean, even, I don't know, I guess I would almost say, like, working in the service industry, like working in a restaurant, you can, that's like a tiptoe into potentially weird jobs, just because working at a restaurant is a very unique situation. Like, it's something like a lot of people have done, but like restaurant work, would you not agree, is like...
Oh, it's worst.
Well, I don't want to say it's the worst, but it's just like... You
can't wear your headphones. Do you ever try to wear headphones when you're serving the table and people get all fucking antsy about it? Oh, I can't hear you. I'm listening to Joe Rogan. You're fat.
I don't get why people listen to Joe Rogan, but, you know... I don't get, but I've never listened to it, so I'll start by saying that.
There you go.
But you've explained to me what it is, and I'm like...
It's for men.
Okay, well...
It's for the boys. It's fun for the boys.
Fun for the boys.
One for the boys, and it's fun. And it's fun for the boys.
Okay. Huh. Well, you know, I guess to each their own. I mean, what do I like? I like Drag Race. You know, you probably don't totally understand that.
Oh, you?
You do, because it's amazing. I mean, it's like...
I think actually, yeah. I think every once in a while, a female is born in a male's body, and they're talented enough to express themselves, and then if they are talented enough, they can get on Drag Race.
You do realize that, like, drag queens... I mean, yes, there are some drag queens that are trans, but, like, for the most part, drag queens identify as male.
No wonder.
And they dress up as women.
No one. I'm just thinking, because there's too much talent on that show.
Oh, I do.
It is men. It's men the whole way through.
Yeah.
They're men to the bottom, men to the very tip of the penis.
I mean, there's trans drag queens. There's some female drag queens,
but
bad.
They're bad.
I mean, I'll just put it this way. A female's never made it onto RuPaul's Drag Race, and some might say RuPaul's not the end-all and be-all of drag, but you know what? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I live for that show. And that show never fails to brighten... Like, that's the only reason.
Joe Rogan's for the boys. RuPaul's for the boys. Oh, my God.
There's nothing for the girls.
There's nothing for the girls at all.
What is for the girls?
Writing letters, complaining.
Writing letters.
Ocean's 8, what we just watched.
What a nightmare.
Sandra Bullock, she keeps it together alright though. I can't help but think she just tarnished her fucking, her career by taking that role.
Dude, she's done horrible movies before that.
Has she?
Everybody's done a dud.
I've barely watched anything to do with Sandra Bullock.
Speed was a good one, obviously.
I remember the second one, William Dafoe.
What?
William Dafoe was in the second one.
In the second Speed?
Speed 2, they call it.
You're the only person who saw Speed 2. But, yeah.
They're on a cruise ship, and they had coronavirus.
When did Ocean's 8 come out?
I'd say it was 2018, 2019.
Well,
it was the surge of let's get the chicks in some movies.
Let's reboot all of these successful franchises with women rather than just writing a new original movie starring women.
Let's get a fat black chick. Let's get a nerdy Asian chick. Let's get a kind of dumb Indian chick.
Who was the fat black chick?
She wasn't in that one. Did Rihanna in that one?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, she looked fatter than I've seen her before. No offense, Rihanna. No offense, Riri, if you're a listener. In the Ghostbusters, they had a big fat black chick.
That was Leslie Jones.
Yeah,
she has a career far more successful than either of ours will be. Especially at this
I think
point.
she probably damaged it after that movie.
Yeah, I heard that was bad. That was frankly like ill-advised.
This is what podcasting is.
Are you serious?
This is it.
This is what people gossip. Do. See, when I've gone on podcasts in the past, generally, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can sort of, I don't mean to, but people ask me questions, then it sort of swings to some
story.
Insane thing, and then we talk about that, and like weave in and out of that, and then it's fucking over, and then I leave, and that's it. But so it's like when we're sitting here, and I'm like even I am my biggest fan, and even once I begin to talk on this, I'm like, oh, what a fucking nightmare. Like, I'm like, ugh. Like, who wants to...
Now we're in a corner, now we got a podcast. The streets are crawling with cops, you're not allowed outside your building.
I mean, we don't got to, but it's like, it's pretty much, I would say, my last clinging effort. Yeah.
I like that word.
Bastion. It's bastion of hope. No, it's the one thing that I'm willing to do right now when I can do nothing else.
No, I'm going to plan on working on it soon. Now that I have time on my hands again.
Yeah, you got all that free time.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, you've stopped sucking dick on the street for money every night because you can't go out after 8.
Because there's a curfew.
So, you know.
It's a curfew, yeah. Katharyn forces me to go out to make money by deflowering my mouth with men's penises.
Yeah, well, a girl's got to eat.
And
so
I cry.
And you cry, which is my favorite part.
I threatened to kill myself, but the window here is very rickety.
Hey, you're stepping into my territory right now, okay? I'm the one who gets to commit suicide in Australia, not you.
5 weeks ago. Well, if we get through 5 weeks without a suicide attempt, I think we're
that was about to not be plausible.
We were on the 33rd floor, now we're on the 8th floor.
Well, there was the 30th.
I feel like there's more chance of surviving every time.
Well, yeah, not if we had stayed in that place we went to over the weekend.
Oh yeah, fuck.
I don't even know. I mean,
it had child porn lighting. I never watched the child porn, but it's the kind of lighting I imagine, like basement yellow.
So we left an Airbnb because our time was up, and I had booked another Airbnb in the bustling, trendy neighborhood of St. Kilda.
Which is a shithole.
But I told you, and you were like, yeah, St. Kilda,
I knew it was a shithole, but I also...
Why didn't you tell me it was a shithole?
I don't know. Some of it's nice. Just turned out the part that we went to was the shithole part.
Well, so, and it was like amazing large apartment near the beach. And I was like, all right, I looked at it and it looked like a bad hotel reception, but it was like spacious, clean. It looked nice, Like it wasn't my favorite furniture, but I was like, whatever, who gives a fuck? This works. Queen mattress near the beach. It had photos of a little patio area. The front was like well lit, it looked classy. And then we got there.
Yeah, what did we roll up on?
It was on a highway. The patio area that was
Did you pick up even the Uber driver knew there was something he was
when the Uber driver, do you remember he was like,
yeah, it's somewhere around here.
He was like, you haven't been here before? And we were like, no. Well, of course I'm like, no, because I'm just trying to get through social interaction.
No, he seemed like he didn't want to say this is a shithole. He just was like, oh, enjoy it. But his face dropped when he stopped.
Well, then he was like, I'm pretty sure you're going to be on the left, but it was on the right. And maybe the reason he thought it was on the left instead of the right, because the right was like a gussied up crack den, which is where we were going. Mm. And we get there and, this child comes to check us in, right? I don't know, what, 25?
Anywhere between 21 and 40. Because he had a mask on and he was foreign.
But his eyes...
foreign, I'm foreign. But anyway.
He wasn't Australian. He wasn't Australian. And
what is Australian? It's a multicultural country.
All right, I don't give a fuck about Australia.
He was a young man.
He was too young.
Yeah.
We were older.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he comes to check us in, and then he asks for my ID and the credit card I used to book the Airbnb, which is already weird. I've never had to do that, but we're in the middle of these restrictions where we're not allowed to be outside. There's an 8 p.m. curfew. We got all of our shit. We look homeless because we are homeless, and I'm like, whatever, so I give him the shit, and then he's like, we're going to put a $200 bond on this card that you'll get back when you check out. And I'm thinking, okay, they're pretty serious here. I saw in the Airbnb that they had all these rules, no smoking, no visitors, whatever. But it's we don't know anybody and we'll figure out, how to go smoke, even though it doesn't make any sense. Because how will you go smoke when you're not allowed outside without a mask or after 8 p.m. in the middle of a pandemic? But whatever. I was like, we'll figure it out. And I have to sign all this shit. And they're going to take the bond. And I'm like, okay, fine. So he charges my credit card. And then he gives us the key, and he's like, you're going to take a left and take a left. So we go. I was in the room first, right? Mm. The door opened. No, were you in the room first?
No, you were in the room first, because I was struggling with the door and the bags.
Yeah, so you had the door and I opened the... I hate even thinking about it. It's
It's disgusting.
It was everything about it was wrong. From a standpoint of I want to meet someone who has stayed there, and I want to ask them, how much alcohol they had to drink to do it, because it was fucked up bad. It was a shell of what the photos were, because it was that place, except some of the photos weren't of that place, but other photos were of that place. It was that, I think.
I lived in this squat in London. Is it called a squat? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
That was bad. That was really bad. It was studio, just cracked in. You could kick the door open. And this place felt worse walking in. And it was big.
It was huge. It was there was so much room to feel like shit. It was
every room felt like someone got molested in there.
It felt like hospice. The bathroom was like what you would see in a hospital, where you'd wheel someone in, and then
you'd wheel them in and just dump their wheelchair into the bath, fill up with water, and go, I hope you don't have the virus.
Yeah, and it was like leaving Las Vegas, Australia, it's where you would go to binge drink for a week and then kill yourself.
Nicolas Cage in a bathrobe in that room with a gun.
Ending
his life.
Ending his life. And what was crazy is they had all these rules being no smoking, no drug use, no visitors. But when you looked out onto the patio, so this was on the first floor, you look out on the patio and your view is of the highway, which you could throw a rock at, and the patio itself is covered in trash, including cigarette butts. So the irony, of the no smoking thing.
But the audacity of it, that's what really. And I was annoyed before I went in there because you were telling me about these rules, and you signed these rules, and I was before we even signed the rules, I was this place looks too shit to have rules.
Well, maybe someone else should have found the Airbnb then. But I was thinking near the beach, that'll be nice. This is hopefully the last hurrah here, the final resting place for us before exiting this godforsaken situation in this country, and I remember I was looking around and just the cabinets were broken and peeling, and there was a Roach Motel near the washing machine, which it's this is all shit I'm fine with existing. The bed was not even a queen bed. It was two twin beds mushed together, and then it was mushed against the wall of the window in the bedroom, which looked directly out onto the courtyard, which made it look like a Reno motel complex. It was just it was loud. You could hear everything. It was fucking crazy. And I think when you picked up the remote and there was no battery door, and
when there was no battery door, no batteries,
and no batteries.
I was we had to move, or else we'd murder a prostitute here.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Yeah, and have her join the others.
Things can't stay the way they are.
And it's not even that I'm mad that exists. It's that I'm mad that I was lied to. I'm what you should have done is been here's what this is, and we want way too much money for it. Is this for you? And I would have been not for me. No, thank you.
Yeah, it was a scam.
It was a rigmarole of wasting everybody's goddamn time on during a time where you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Because when I called the kid up and I'm we're not staying here. His eyes didn't look surprised.
Well, he was expecting the phone call for sure. Let me just show you the worst room in the complex, sir. And I'll wait by the phone.
And it smelled weird. All the curtains were stained, visibly stained. It smelled like stale cigarettes and mildew. And it's just again, if that's what I had known I was renting, I'd be well, you get what you pay for. But I think we decided we could not be paid the amount of money we paid to stay there for a month.
If we were going to kill ourselves,
$1,000, would you stay there for a month?
Yeah, I'd do it, but I would have
for
to...
For $1,000?
Stay there to get paid. I'd have to get paid.
That's not that much money a day, dude. That's $1,000 a month, I want to say is around
$30 a day.
$37 a day.
Yeah, and you just spend that in the booze anyway. So you just be fucking yourself up. You just have a bad month.
There was nothing. There was nothing there to clean anything with, and everything needed to be cleaned. And I'm not a neat freak. You know what I mean? You've lived with me. I can do lived in, but this was ugh.
And folding the towels in the bed was just.
Yeah, they
fuck you.
They had all the towels rolled up
fucking cunts.
All stacked in a little pyramid. Did you see the really sad shampoo bottles and the soaps and everything? Which was hotel. It might have been a motel. It was
a motel.
It was really fucked up. And so of course I'm
manic at this stage.
That's not fair. Okay, that's not
good
fair.
Manic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Getting shit done, Manic.
Thank you. Because I'd like to say, if there is something about me that I do think I'm good at, it's like, yes, over the last 6 months of being here, I've been under various amounts of pressure, which have nearly cracked me at times. But like in a highly pressurized, time-sensitive situation, I don't like lose it. You know what I mean? That's usually when I'm like, wow, like it's like, you know, the fucking phoenix rises again, and I'm like, all right, I have to tell them through Airbnb that we're not staying, tell this kid that we're not staying, call Airbnb because I'm getting my money back now, I'm getting my bond back now, and find another Airbnb before they all shut down for the day because we're finding one in a matter of hours, and, you know, figure all of that out before this fucking curfew happens. So when the kid came back and was like, oh, we have other rooms, I was like, you go look at them, even though I knew goddamn well.
Yeah, let me go pretend to look at the rooms.
You wasted my fucking time. Like, I wish I could have just, because, I mean, I looked at him at one point, and I was like, I mean, I can't stay here. I mean, come on. And, like, he was sort of like, and I'm like, you fucking know what this is.
Yeah, you know, you're ripping us off.
And then we talked to John Boy about it, right?
And he went there to score drugs.
And he went there to score drugs. And that was the other thing. I'm like, why?
He had a description down to a T. He was like, oh, straight through the reception. Oh, and the outdoor lift. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you went on the lift because I didn't go on the lift because this was on the ground floor. And I think the worst part about it is it was titled like amazing. Like something that was the word, amazing, like not just for that, but that like that's what all their units are called, and they're, you know, and it's like an amazing location, amazing apartment. I don't know where the beach was, but the beach was like running away from this location, this apartment. It wanted nothing to do with it.
Well, we walked down towards it with all our bags.
Oh yeah, where we saw the man you're gonna grow up to be.
Well, we saw all the local heroes.
Yeah.
That just never recovered from
the who's who of St. Kilda.
Never recovered from a trip back in the early 2000s.
All right.
I'm a fucking $10, you dog cunt.
Yeah. What else did he say?
I'm gonna smash him up.
Yeah.
So I believe him. You know, $10 is like, you know, probably a lot to that guy, I guess.
I mean, I did believe him, and I don't know if he did.
I hope he got his money back. That irritated gentleman.
And then.
Oh yeah, and then we went to I went to 7-Eleven to get a coffee because they're really cheap over here.
And we had time to kill because it was like 1:30, and our other Airbnb didn't open up till 3.
So we have like fucking 6 bags, and we look like shit. And we're standing outside the 7-Eleven. We were fitting in pretty much. We're fitting in well.
Yeah.
We just need a bit more a cardboard sign saying flights cancelled.
I mean. Yeah, I think that those moments for me out of all of them are the hardest because it's that you really realize like you don't live here, you know? Like I don't know about you, and I guess you've kind of traveled all over the world and whatever, and I have only traveled well, really within the last year.
International retard, Marco Cave.
And but, like, for me, I've always enjoyed, like, knowing where all the shit is around where I live. And it's like, not only do I not know where anything is, but I'm, like, the furthest point away from all of that I've ever been in my life.
We were about 3 minutes more walk to see some actual beach, but...
I was 3 minutes away from doing heroin. So, like, you know...
As soon as that second guy came up, I was like, we're going to have to go the other way now.
Yeah.
Because... He saw us with our bags, just looking like a refugee family who lost their kids. That was it. It looked like a war zone, and
we sold our kids.
The kids didn't make it. No, one of them got blown up, and we sold the other one for a bus ticket to get across the border
to get to St. Kilda.
Yeah, and then he just walked past, looking fidgety, and he was like, "Good luck." And then you said, "Thank you." And then he was.
That was not a good impression of me.
Coffee. Thank you. Let me just try and get it. Yeah. Thank you. That is not a very becoming impression of me. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, yeah, you know who I think you're trying to impersonate is the drag queen that I showed you, Tatiana, whose tagline, of her taglines.
Stop saying that I watched the show.
Well, yeah, but why don't you try doing her thank you?
Thank you.
No, she goes, thank you.
Thank you. Well, you said
choices. Thank you.
Yeah, you said thank you, and it's fucking, God bless him, the Spectrums. He was like an opening.
Yeah, and when you were like, my brethren, and
is that an accent I hear?
Yeah, he had a strange accent actually.
No, but that was the opening, wasn't it? As soon as you said thank you, he was like, it was. That's the first thing he
I
said.
don't remember how he opened, because I know...
That's exactly, you said thank you, and then he was like, is that an accent? And that was the opening.
But then he said, like, where are you from?
Yeah, and as soon as you said America, then it was like...
a history lesson.
Yeah, the history lesson. You know what he was just doing in his frantic states in his basement? It's just reading history books.
Well, he told me that Australians consider us their big brothers.
Yeah. Australians consider their big brothers. And he's like fucking sweating and fucking wigging out.
Yeah, and he was talking about Japan.
They would have made internment camps and we'd all be dead.
Yeah, that the Japanese would have Is this true?
I mean, whatever kind of history he reads, probably, yeah. Who knows?
I mean, see, it's all about confidence, though. He was very confident.
He was very confident. He said the Japanese would come here. They would have put us in internment camps.
The Australians.
And they would have murdered all the indigenous people. And I was like...
you already took care of that.
It's like, that's exactly the same situation for them anyway. This is like, they would have been like, yeah. And fucking, what did he say? I implore you to go to the local youth hostel.
Oh yeah, he wanted us to go to the backpackers down the road, and then he told us how to get
murder
there.
us.
Well, yeah, so that's what was crazy, because we were like, thank you, because I'm just like, sure, maybe, yeah. And then he walks one direction. And so when we see him first, did you see that he tried to go into the 7-Eleven, but then he came out and then walked the way he had come?
Yeah.
So
he realized it was empty and there was no one to trick into the conversation.
Well, yeah, so he then walks away, and I think that's when you and I, without words, decide to walk the opposite way he walked.
We will no longer appear at the beach.
Yeah.
We will just go.
We're just going to go back the way we came. And I was like, let's just walk. We'll get a car. Like, we're just going to walk up here a little bit, and then we'll get a car. So we walk, 2 blocks? Definitely. 2 blocks. I don't know if it's north, but I'm going to call it north. We walk 2 blocks north. He's gone south. And we reach the next stoplight. And we're going to cross the street because, we want to go east now. And as we're waiting to cross, this guy has emerged from the eastern direction.
Yeah, trench coat, fucking woolly hat.
Like, he's back. So he somehow walked the opposite way of us and then crossed the street and then walked 2 blocks our direction and then crossed the street to meet us again. In the time it took us to walk 2 blocks, he just floated. I mean,
he's so far on the spectrum that he broke the space-time continuum.
Yeah,
or else if those people can duplicate or something, maybe that's it.
He built a train and rode it there.
He built a train
in the time it took us to walk 2 blocks.
Yeah, he was.
That was the part.
That's when I was just like, let's just cross the street. No, let's get a cab. Let's get out of here.
Those are some of my favorite moments. Are those moments where there's a silent acknowledgement, because you and I both have our masks on and we both have a ton of shit, but I see him and you see him and we don't look at each other right away, but we do look at each other.
Look toward the traffic. It's like, let's just walk into it.
But I remember
before a third one appears.
I remember your eyes looking like
tired and terrified.
And I'm just like,
the shine's gone out of him.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm
just glassy, dead fish eyed.
And you can't, it's funny because you can't really. I was like, you can't say anything for a few minutes. He was a perfectly nice guy, but we've just been through something. Yeah. At the time.
I mean, no way was he actually, he should probably, insane. Not insane, but you know what I mean? Mentally compromised.
But to be honest,
he could be a genius in certain aspects.
Yeah, look, he frankly is no different than some old guy who's grown up on the Upper West Side, I swear to God. But I understand it's different in Australia than it is in New York, So you're not dealing... There's more people in New York. So maybe you just have a crazy person for every.
No, yeah,
one
I
out of
know. I live in
three.
cities where there's always crazies, but it was just a time it happened where like the crazy guy shouting that he was going to kill someone for 10 bucks, and then
Well, we've just come out of the crack.
Just come out of a crack den.
This crack
that they
den.
treated charges for.
This vacuumed crack den that smelled like your socks had been entombed. I swear to God, like that they'd been entombed for like hundreds of years and had been let out, and then the scent wafted through a space. That's what that smelled like. So we had just left that place, seen the guy screaming in the street like, "You fucking gun! I'm gonna smash him up!" And he had a bike, and then this dude who he looked like if that movie The Life Aquatic. With Steve Zissou.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, you know how they have like little red hats.
I don't even. That's the one of that. That's the.
That is the one.
Yeah,
I
think that's the one movie I haven't seen of that gay director. Is he gay?
I don't know if he's literally gay.
He's on the gay spectrum.
But
in an artsy, beautiful way.
Yeah, well, that's the last one I think I liked.
I don't know.
Anyone after that, I'm not a fan.
But he looked like a guy out of that.
Well, yeah, he looked like Luigi. Like the Mario Brothers, if like Steve Zissou was Mario with the red hat, he was like, if there was like a green version of the same thing, he should be on that ship.
He actually looked like Ross Kemp. He looked exactly like, I'll show you a picture of Ross Kemp in a minute.
Yeah.
He's like this guy who used to be on a soap opera, but bald, kind of big, but he was like Ross Kemp, but like, a thinking abnormality.
Well, it's also funny when it's like,
It was nice though, you know what I mean? It was just not a day for, we listened enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's like, I know you struggle to get out of conversations. I'm aware that I engaged, but, really, I can't ignore people. Like, even if they're fucking crazy, if they're talking directly to me, I will acknowledge the presence, because they're still a fucking person. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, if you're saying something to me, that's not like really like downright offensive to me. Like if you're not going like, you fucking bitch, you fucking ugly whore, or whatever, like pretty much the bar is low. If you are being any kind of relatively decent in my general direction to me, I will treat you like a person. So it's like when he was like, good luck, I feel like thank you was an appropriate response to that. I had no idea what I was signing up for.
Oh, well, we looked like we needed luck for sure.
I mean, dude, I was lucky.
Was he wearing a face mask?
I don't remember. I mean, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He had a scarf or something, did he?
He had a scarf, but I don't think it was on his face. But I know he wasn't wearing a face because people were passing us as he was talking to us. You know what I mean? And we've got all this shit, and we're in a hostage situation in this conversation because I saw out of the corner of my eye people like looking at what was happening because it did look unusual, I
was just starting to get those annoying cold sweats at that stage, just like.
Well, it was just so funny because we had so I had barely had any sleep for like 3 days because and I remember when we like woke up or whatever and we were eating, we didn't really eat. That was it. We had a cup of coffee and we were like going to eat breakfast when we got to the new place. And I think at some point, I don't even remember what happened. But
breakfast would have been a lot of chloroform or something.
Bleach.
I would have just drank bleach out of blonde on it.
No, I would have poured bleach all over it, poured it down my throat, and then set it on fire if I had to stay there more than 48 hours. Not even, frankly, 24 hours. In my current fragility, 24 hours. I couldn't have even survived 8. I couldn't imagine you, like, leaving during the day and me being alone there. And then I actually also couldn't imagine being there with you. I couldn't imagine having sex there. I couldn't imagine sitting on that couch and the TV, like, so small for the space in the corner. Without a remote, so it wouldn't be on, so it'd be like The Shining without the scenery.
The TV was so small.
It was so small and you couldn't turn it on.
And that pallet, just broken pallet right in the garden. Whatever, not garden.
And then those little circular things that were like littered.
I don't know what they were.
But horrible. But
so we got out of the city for approximately an hour and then we ended up right back in the city.
Right back in the city.
Where we belong, where we love.
Yeah.
Melbourne under lockdown and curfews and cops all over the streets. It's better than St Kilda.
I mean, it's anything is better than whatever that was. I mean, that was proof that it could get worse. And so I think it's fair. I think it's, yeah, you at some point you had said to me, like, oh, I'll give you a massage when we get to the new place. Could you imagine?
No.
We couldn't have, I couldn't have.
I wouldn't be able to touch myself in there. Never mind
yeah.
anyone else.
Yeah. That would have ended our marriage.
Yeah, for sure.
Murder-suicide.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, we had sort of been through something, basically. Like, I was starving, exhausted.
But then we got back to this place, and it's nice.
And then we got back to this place, which is right across.
Score. Same price.
Same price after because I got the refund.
Beautiful library.
Beautiful library. I got the full refund. I got the bond. I found us this place.
A view of the library, even though it's closed and all that shit.
Yeah.
A view you can watch the people go by in their masks until the cops
tell you that you're not allowed to put your eye prints on anything either.
The cops send you home. What did I see today? I've seen about 4 or 5 people get searched today. Just because there's like such a police presence. This is a police state now, which I'm for, because everyone who says defund the police, I hate them. Depending where they're from, but there's so many cops here. It's very hard to be contrarian right now.
What would defunding the police, like, just take away all the guns and just give them, like, you know, like spears they had to, like...
Depends on which country you're in, but you don't want less police in cities, for sure. Except here. Maybe, but I guess you're trying to get eradicated.
The police here, God, I don't want to say... The police here seem stupid.
No, I don't know. They seem young. They seem like
that's what I mean. They're very young. I guess that's what I...
No, there's a new crop in, for sure.
I think maybe that's I guess, what the vibe I'm saying.
I went out to smoke a joint earlier today, and the first thing I saw was cops everywhere. So what I did was I put my back against the wall and looked at the whole square. We're on a square. So I can see police on, like, either side, and so there's like 3 groups of police between patrolling and searching people. And then I spark up my joint, and now I have them all in my sights, and I know there's none to either side of them, and then I walk while keeping them all in my eyesight, and what's going on. And then as soon as I'm high, I'm seeing people get searched everywhere, and I'm having such a good time, because I'm like, one of the guys they searched was the most hilarious thing ever. There's a guy in the park rolling around, and he was just covered in pigeons. It was the most homeless thing I've ever seen.
How do you?
It was beautiful. It was just. I'm trying to think of the homeless equivalent of someone with such a rapport with nature.
What about the pigeon lady? The most obvious choice.
It's like the pigeon lady in Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is like it's pigeon lady's legs weren't working and she was rolling around, and the pigeons were he was like enjoying
pigeon
the pigeons.
Lady 2.0.
But he was rolling in them. They were flopping off him. He was rolling in them, and the cops eventually they went over and they searched this guy. He had a mask on, so I mean he had some sort of level of obedience. He had his mask on. He was covered in pigeons, and they're like searching this guy, and he starts freaking out. I'm like, why are you even bothering searching this guy? He's clearly insane on his own terms.
He might have PCP.
He might be having a good time. Yeah, and then I went out just a minute ago to smoke, and as soon as I walked out the door onto the street, they were just approaching, but they're looking at me with my fucking cigarette, with my joint in my hand. And I'm like, I have to spark it, because if I put it back in my pocket, it's like an emission. It's
no mission of guilt.
Yeah, the process has already started. So I just spark it, and then I just like start smoking it, and then I like put it down by my side as they walk past, because they have masks on, and they looked about 17. The cops. They looked like babies, and they were like,
yeah.
I got such a rush off that. It was awesome.
Is this gonna start something?
I enjoy being in the police state. It's like a fucking dystopian novel. You know, the ones you read in school.
Look, I don't know what I enjoy anymore. I
enjoy the weirdest things, actually.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm in a whole process of rediscovering new things to enjoy.
What, like cooking weed into...
I'm not going to say I enjoyed that, but it was a venture. It was an undertaking, which, by the way... I should let you know. I think I'm starting to feel it.
Perfect. It works.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
It was a process, because
you're too scared to go out amongst the crowds like me. You see, I can't risk you getting. I won't get locked up. I can't risk you.
Why can't?
I just have eyes in the back of my head when it comes to shit like this.
I mean, I've never been caught. Knock on wood. And I usually am the person, if I'm in a group, to like see the cop. Now I'm like whispering because
I swear to God, this hall is patrolled.
And I'm starting to get
this is why I'm actually now like thinking the hall in this building is patrolled by an elderly Chinese man.
I mean, he's out there every time I go out there.
What's the Chinese version of like MI5, or was that our door?
No, it was next door.
Or like, I don't know. Did China have like some elite security spies?
I have no idea. I've never been.
If you walked out that door right now, it will look like he's walking past, but really he's like kind of hanging around just in the hallway.
There's never been a time I've been in the hall that I have not seen him.
That I've not seen him.
And I haven't been in there a lot, but I haven't not been in there a lot either.
You know who'd know something about this? Our autistic friend in St. Kilda. He'd have an opinion.
You know, if we had let him keep going...
We should have bought him here.
We probably would have gotten the whole thing out of him. You know, that's why you're polite to strangers. Because maybe they have information for you, but we didn't even take it.
5 weeks left in Australia. It's insanely strict here at the moment. It's very interesting to be in what seems to be a sort of social experiment in Western society. First time in years this level of lockdown has ever been to this country anyway.
No, this is the first time ever.
It's been a lockdown like this. Curfews are insane.
So, you know, pretty much I made history.
You can look out the window and the streets are empty. It's haunting.
It is crazy.
Everyone's
crazy.
so complained here as well.
Well, except for the one lady that we didn't even watch the news thing, but she got like choked out, which, you know, have we learned nothing? Yeah, by a cop for not wearing a mask, which is just like, all right.
Don't be a hero. Wear your fucking mask.
All I care about is that he was fucking choking her. I was like, yo, like really.
What if she was coughing on him? I'm always looking for an angle.
But choking's only going to make her cough more.
I would be against the cops so much if everyone else wasn't against the cops, and I have to be a contrarian.
Yeah, I know. There's so many
people
you know.
On my Facebook page. There's people in Vancouver going defund the police. I was like, you don't even have COVID. You don't even have COVID there. Oh my God, it's the Chinese man.
I mean, I do hear the wall.
The walls are creaking. Still don't want to go. What a great place. Okay, I can't get enough of that view. 43 minutes.
You don't need to look at me and say how long we've been recording, but what you do
yeah.
See, it's time for me to go. But what you do need to do is remind people that if they don't see an episode come out, it's probably because there's been a special thing put on our Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. What she said.
Yeah, see, look at that. And do you want to name the people?
I'll name the people.
Say hello to the $5 Patreon subscribers. Those are people who get to see or hear whatever the weird shit is.
Yes.
Definitely not.
So we have Adam and Ori. He's a sweet kid. He actually lives in the city. Do you know that? Adam's probably in at 8 o'clock every night.
I'm not listening.
That's what you have to do here right now. It's a police state. It's a goddamn police state. We have Kev then, he's a close friend of mine, grew up with him.
Every fucking time, huh?
Yeah, he actually knows a lot about history. So he would have actually been very, very... He wouldn't have even noticed that guy was autistic.
Maybe that guy was him.
He would have just thought it was a good conversation.
People change over time.
We have Sinead Walsh in Dublin. I hope everything's okay there in Dublin.
It's not
my favourite city.
What happens if the day comes? It's a shitty city,
to be honest. Dublin should always be
$5 Patreon subscriber who you don't know personally.
I'd make something up.
You're gonna make up a fun fact.
Yeah.
So the next $5 Patreon subscriber that you don't know personally, you're gonna just make up their history.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, nothing like. Just keep going. I'm ready to watch a movie.
See, no, you distract me. No, I can't remember who else there is.
Well, I'm distracted as well.
Sinead, Kev. Not Tom Ford.
You fucker.
Sinead, Kev, not Tom Ford, Adam Mallory. Who the fuck else was there again? Sorry.
Well, there's Niall.
Oh, yeah, Niall, obviously. Our favourite guy in Melbourne. We're partying with him the other night. Not meant to be. We were masked up. There's one more.
Dominic.
Damo da, my boy. My sweet boy.
What's happened to you?
The number one chef in the whole world.
Alright.
Damo would make Gordon Ramsay cry. Not because he'd put him to shame with his skills, it's because he'd get drunk and he'd slap him about.
I think you're going to have to find new facts about everybody for next time.
I'm going to actually plan out the next podcast.
Now that
I have time in my hands, I'm going to actually work on this.
You have to make them up or something, but
No, I'm going to work on this from now on.
All right. Well, I'm pleased to announce the way
the cooked wheat about. I can't even speak.
Well, I'm scared to say it too loud because even though I'm an adult, we're basically in
a police state. In a Chinese man outside our door.
And it's like,
yeah. We're like crackheads, paranoid crackheads.
Well, first, what was the first way? First, I had to learn all about decarbonation. I can't even do this right now. Let's just sign off.
Right, sign off. Good night, everyone. God bless. Stay safe out there. Stay indoors. Wear your mask. Good night.
This